Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be doing a live stream tracking Hurricane Zeta, which is now about to make landfall at this time here, but I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up here really quick. Let my Twitter followers know that I'm going to be live streaming. So wait for it to load here. The internet may be a little bit bad. Alright, here we go. Try to go ahead and get things set up here really quickly. And we'll get started. Alright, there we go. My Twitter followers know. So there's a possibility this thing here may actually be a Category 3 hurricane. It's just a guess. It's recently got upgraded to Category 2 hurricane with winds of 110 miles an hour just by the passive recon plane. Which I don't think we're going to have any more recon passes now since it's going to be now going over land as well. If you guys do have any questions throughout the stream, you could go and put it in the chat as well and answer your guys' questions. And let's go ahead and get started here. So we're going to get started with the National Hurricane Center's outlook. So we got Hurricane Zeta, which has recently been updated to 110 miles an hour. It's not updated on this graphic here, but it is upgraded to 110 miles an hour as of right now. Although it shows 100 miles an hour, but this will get updated in a little bit. It's moving at a pretty good speed, moving north-northeast at 20 miles an hour, so it's moving pretty quickly here as a tropical system here, which is good news here. The good side is, you know, the flash flood threat will stay a little bit lower since this thing here will be moving quickly. However, with the winds, it's going to be more widespread. And it's going to be covering a larger area here. And it's also going to be extending, I should say, a longer period of time. So I'm going to show you guys the watch warning map here in a little bit here. If we click on Zeta here, you can see we got update here. You can see here 110 miles an hour with higher gusts as well. I mean, this thing is on the edge of being a Category 3 hurricane, which is a possibility here. And let's take a look at the warning cone here. This thing here may stay along with tropical storm winds throughout the entire time at landfall. That's just a possibility. You can see here, it's still a tropical storm when it reaches to North Carolina. Just kind of ridiculous here, in my opinion. As well, that's kind of a little bit impressive here. Uh, but yeah, really the primary threat with the system here, at least over land, will be strong winds. There will be some power outages out there, mostly isolated, but when we're going to get a hurricane force winds, it will be likely to be scattered to widespread. There's also going to be a decent amount of rain. I'm thinking that the most areas that can get a lot of rain, there's two different areas. One area here will be in the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina, even extending into Virginia. Another area is going to be along the Ohio River here in portions of Kentucky, portions of Tennessee, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, southeastern Missouri, northeastern Arkansas. At that point there, especially here in Kentucky, we're going to get rain a longer period of time. You also got a front that's also going to be nearby here, so it's going to be, kind of be the stopper of pushing that moisture, any further north. You can get some flash flooding along that front there. And there's going to be a cutoff low moving towards Hurricane Zeta, and eventually it could be joining forces. And there's a possibility we could see a little snowstorm across the northeast as well. Dax, welcome to the stream. Will West Virginia gets thunderstorms or severe storms from Zeta? I think you guys could see just generally thunderstorms. I think you guys can see at least a chance for maybe some flooding as well. That's also a possibility. There, I think mainly the severe weather threat should be staying around Alabama, the Panhandle of Florida, into Georgia, to the Carolinas, into portions of Virginia. I think that's where the severe threat should be, sticking around as well. Let's take a look at the storm surge forecast here as well. 6 to 9 feet storm surge possibly between the mouth of Pearl River to Dolphin Island there as well. 5 to 7 feet between the mouth of the Mississippi River to the mouth of the Pearl River. 5 to 8 feet between Fort John to the mouth of the Mississippi River. 4 to 6 feet between the mouth of the I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Some type of river there, and for Fort John, it's also 3 to 5 feet between Dolphin Island to the Alabama and Florida border, then 2 to 4 feet between the state line to Narvi and also Pensacola Bay. So yeah, there's gonna be some serious storm surge there. It could be life-threatening as well. Here's the rainfall forecast for the Weather Prediction Center. Like I said, two different areas that could see a lot of rain. You got this area right in here, like along the Ohio River. You got another area in the mountains of the Carolinas, even into Tennessee and even into northern Georgia as well. Even maybe even extending into Virginia as well. So speaking of the severe weather threat, let's take a look into the Storm Prediction Center's outlook here. Actually, as you can see here, you got slight risk for severe weather across southeastern Louisiana to southern Mississippi, mostly southern Alabama, into portions of the Florida Panhandle. Primary threat would be tornadoes. Damage and rain threat could be there. Hail, don't expect that as well. So yeah, just to keep in mind of that as well when we move on to day 2. Got a marginal risk extending from the central Florida Panhandle through southeastern Georgia into the Carolinas, even into portions of Virginia as well. Then day 3, severe threat will be gone. So Zeta won't be sticking around for too long. It'll be staying by the United States over the next couple of days. It's going to be moving quickly. And that's kind of some good news there as well. Then kind of going back here, this is the wind probabilities here for tropical storm winds, which I've heard recently they've updated as well, but we're going to look into the older update. I think in the newer update here, the percentages have been upgraded across portions of the Carolinas there as well for tropical storm winds as well, and that's how far well, let me say this first. Tropical storm winds, that's over 40 mile per hour winds. And this is the chances of getting 40 mile per hour winds. It has to be at least a minute on average to be considered as a tropical storm. And I think there's a decent chance for that as well, especially getting into the mountains of the Carolinas as well. So that's definitely something to watch for as well. And that could create some power outages out there as well. We're going to be kind of going back and forth here. This is the flash flood potential here. You can see here, slight risk pretty much all over the place here. You can see there's a little bit of a spot, southeastern Kentucky, north central Tennessee, portions of West Virginia here. There's kind of a empty slot there, you could say, for a slight risk. There could be, a dry slot here. And the models have been kind of predicting that, but I'm starting to see a little bit of a southward trend with some of the heaviest rainfall maybe going along and perhaps south of the Ohio River, which we'll be taking a look into that as well. And let's take a look into that watch warning map that I was talking about here earlier. So your red boxes right here, those are tropical storm warnings. And you can see here how far it extends inland there, goes into the mountains of North Carolina, which is pretty impressive there. I've seen a tropical storm warning in a while there. And you can see here your pink shades here, which will zoom in here. You can see here your purple boxes, that's your storm surge warning, but these dark reds here, well, just red color in general, that's your hurricane warnings. Then your dark red is your tropical storm warnings there as well. And your these green boxes here, dark green, those are flash flood watches in effect here as well, which includes a good chunk of Tennessee. Now, some of this is overlapping with some other warnings as well, just to keep in mind of that. So yeah, on that. So that's your current watches and warnings as of right now, and I believe these are high wind. These are wind advisories here. Which, if we go back here, covers over a pretty good chunk of North Carolina, even to portions of South Carolina, even including portions of Tennessee into Virginia. So just to keep in mind of that, and I just got disconnected from my own stream. Hold on a minute. Okay, we're back. I don't know why my phone does that. It happens all the time. Pretty odd there. So let's move on to something else here. Let's take a look into the models, actually. Let's take a look to these models. Oh yeah, here's your infrared satellite here. You can see here it's just making landfall right now. I'm wondering what towns are there. Let's go to my map here. Take a look and see what towns are there. Alright. So it's making landfall somewhere around in here as of right now. It's somewhere around Port Furon, mostly swamp areas in here. That's what it looks like. But yeah, it's making landfall right in this area here. And eventually it's going to be moving into New Orleans soon. Which New Orleans will be experiencing some hurricane force winds as well. Which New Orleans on this map is like right in here. They could see a direct hit from Zeta here. You know, let's look into models here. We'll go back here. Models are one to save here, so here's the track for Zeta here. Really good agreement here, which is some good news there. That's the same way for some of the other models. The intensity forecast, ignoring the models, staying around hurricane strength. Highly doubt it, but you can see here in the majority, a decent chunk keeps it in a tropical storm area, which I think that can happen here. Probably not throughout the entire time throughout landfall. Could die down as a tropical depression, but when it goes back over the waters off the northeast coast there, it will come back as a post tropical storm area. It'll be more of a frontal system at that point. All right, so and here's a closer look, on that graphic here for the rainfall potential. I mean, this is the same, map here. Well, just a different graphic, I should say here. And you can see here rainfall amounts like in the mountains of Tennessee to the Carolinas and northern Georgia. Could see rainfall amounts anywhere from 4 to 5 inches of rain, possibly 4 inches of rain across the lower Ohio Valley region, kind of around the Ohio and Mississippi River Valley. Kind of where it intersects southwestern Kentucky, southern Indiana, and Illinois and southeastern Missouri. Could see 4 inches of rain. Although keep in mind, isolated areas could see higher amounts than what this from the weather prediction or what they're showing. Which is time to show you guys some of the models. So let's first take a look at the HER model, which is right now updating to 20Z. And we'll take a look at total precipitation here. And as you can see here, could be a pretty good swath of heavy rain here going across the mountains of the Carolinas for Virginia, eventually getting around Maryland and Delaware. Widespread amounts, really 2 to 3 or 4 inches of rain. Some areas could see up to 5 inches of rain. You can see here another hot spot right over here. General amounts 2 to 3 inches. Higher amounts 4 or 5 inches of rain as well. If we look into some other, so we got to go back to 15Z because we get more hours. And this is the rapid refresh model here. And as you can see here, pretty much goes for nearly the entire event here, at least for these areas right in here. But for these areas, not quite through the entire event there. But you can see here, rainfall amounts across portions of the lower Ohio Valley could be anywhere from 1 inch to maybe 2 inches generally. Although isolated areas could see 2 to maybe 4 inches of rain. You can see the mountains of the Carolinas could see up to 5 inches of rain in a few areas there as well. If we look into the NAM. And like I said before here, the models have been kind of trending a little bit further to the south here. It was a little bit further north, at least from some of these models. But it's actually kind of trending a little bit further south. And here's the NAM. I think it's a further to the northwest on the track here of Zeta. As you can see here, you can see some of these higher amounts are more across southeastern Kentucky through portions of West Virginia and eventually as well. Got another hotspot back in here in the lower Ohio Valley. Up to 5 inches of rain in a few areas. The last model, we'll take a look to the high-res NAM. And as you can see here, you can see here it's a little bit further south than what some of the other models are showing as well. You can see in the mountain regions, rainfall amounts up to 7 inches of rain. Could be a little bit overdone, but it could be a possibility there. Even back into Missouri here, showing rainfall amounts over 5 to 6 inches of rain, which is quite a bit. And keep in mind, 2 inches of rain is a lot of rain. Just to keep in mind of there. And that could create some flash flooding issues when you get 2 inches of rain there as well. That's pretty much all the models there for rainfall here. I'll say most of the rain will happen across, we'll be a little bit more specific on things, probably across southern Mississippi, where the strongest of Zeta will be, the mountains of Georgia, the Carolinas, into maybe even to southeastern Kentucky as well. Another hot spot for a lot of rain would be probably along the Ohio River, across Kentucky and Indiana, even extending down to southern Illinois, into southeastern Missouri, perhaps northeastern Arkansas as well. And I think that's going to be pretty much the main hotspots for a lot of rain, in my opinion, there as well. The GFS model is actually moved a little bit further south than what some of the other models are predicting. You can see here what I'm talking about here. You can see here with the GFS, higher amounts actually south of the Ohio River, so definitely something we're going to be watching there as well. In the Euro, it's pretty much the similar thing as well to keep in mind of, so we're going to have to watch for that as well, and that's kind of the only uncertainty there, but the better agreements right now, pretty much along the Ohio River into southeastern Missouri. Let's go back to the loop here. Let's see. Yep, it's about to make landfall right now, folks. Wondering if we could find any cameras in. Well, most of these are small towns in that area. It's mostly swamp, so well, I don't think we'll find a camera down there. Although you can likely find cameras in New Orleans, of course. But where it's going to be making landfall and where the worst is going to be It's mostly in the swamp areas. Although we do have Grand Isle here. Let's see if we can find any cameras down around that region. I highly doubt we'll be finding a camera there. That's gonna be pretty tough to find because mostly it's are small towns, not proper destination areas. You guys know what I mean here. So yeah, I don't think we'll be finding a camera there. If you guys do have any questions, if you put it in the chat. So right now making landfall. Let's take a look back onto the radar here, showing us while I'm talking about the winds here. Get our this tool out. Wow, 141. So it's still gaining strength. This is actually pretty surprising because the conditions really, I think it's the wind shears, making it, well, there's not a lot of wind shear going on at all. I don't think in that region, although sea surface temperatures is actually below average, it's actually not that favorable for tropical systems. So this is kind of surprising here of how the storm's actually able to gain strength as well and able to get this far. Kind of impressive there. Let's take a look to the western eye wall here. And wind's not as strong. It's just the eastern eye wall. It's having the worst of it. I'll say it's officially made landfall now. Very heavy rain on the northern eye wall. Take that thing off. And I mean the outskirts of the storm here goes out pretty far. I mean, look all this rain here. Goes as far north as Kentucky, and I'm pretty much it's merely generated by the system here. It's kind of impressive here. Meanwhile, you got a ice storm still ongoing across portions of Oklahoma. That's eventually going to be merging with this one here. Again, like I said, later down the road, could be a winter storm. So let's see what the GFS says about that. Barely any snow. Barely. See what some other models indicate. Doesn't look to be a major snowstorm like it was before. Yeah, ICOMO's updating. So we can go back to 12Z. Yeah, that could be the case. May not produce as much snow. This here still shows a decent amount of snow. Not really a major winter storm. I think it could be a mini winter storm or maybe just a general winter storm. We're going to see what the National Forest Service offices say about that, especially when they put out, any watches or anything like that, which is currently none. I mean, if a winter storm is imminent at this point here, this is a little far out, or the possibilities there, winter storm watches will be out already, just to keep in mind. I think the chances for the windstorm has kind of gone down after looking into the model runs right now. So that's kind of a bummer to, anybody who wants to know across the New England states, unfortunately. So, and keep in mind, that's like the last, well, actually another system comes behind it. That's actually the cutoff low. But meanwhile, some of the other models doesn't really show that, for one thing. So yeah, guys. Seems like no one else is watching right now, so I'm gonna maybe end it here. Yeah, it's officially made landfall at this point. Let's actually, before we go, see if there's like any rotating storms or anything like that. Let's see. The better chance of finding those would be like some of these here. Better chances like these cells right here. Yeah, like this one here. I'll definitely watch it. Since it's at since it's decently strong here, moving to the north here. Eventually start to move back to the northwest. But I'll definitely watch for that storm. We'll watch these here as well. Yep. So that's some good news there. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna end it here. Hope you guys did enjoy this live stream. If you guys like this live stream, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, watching as a video, you can put a comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next one.